Up next on this latest edition of War Week Boxing, we sit down with undefeated rising prospect, boxing royalty of Northern California, the incomparable Slick Victor Guerrero.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Appreciate you having me on here. Thank you. Thank you.
W.A.W. presents Big Time Boxing USA on War of Week Radio.
Guys, welcome. Happy Monday to all of you. And to kick things off, we're featuring the undefeated 7-0 with 5 knockouts. Big ticket seller in Northern California, Vic Guerrero. Victor, welcome to the show, sir.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys having me on here. I appreciate it.
Well, I tell you what, man, it's very exciting. And once again, this looks like an interesting, maybe transition time to get really into boxing. Because the business seems to be changing a little bit, doesn't it?
A little bit, yeah. You can say that. You can definitely say that. Platforms or it's more streaming now instead of how it was back in the day. HBO pay-per-view, Showtime. That's all in the past now. Everything's on like Amazon Prime, DAZN. So you can definitely say the boxing scene is definitely changing for the new generation. So
that is correct. That is correct, and it's an exciting time. But one thing still stands true, and it always will in any entertainment field, especially boxing. Boy, I tell you what, the big ticket sellers, they're going to get more opportunities.
Definitely. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, of course.
So has that been a big focus in the early part of your career, establishing your brand? And does it help being one of the Guerrero clan?
Of course, it helps a lot. I come from a very rich history in my family of boxing. My Uncle Robert, 6-time world champion. One of the best to ever do it. All my uncles, my dad, my grandpa, they've all boxed in their lifetime, and I think it's my time now to show the world that I'm the next up in the Guerrero family. As long as with my other 2 cousins, I got my little cousin Robert, who's also fighting, and my other cousin Jesse as well. So, we're the new generation, the next generation of Guerrero boxers that are gonna make a statement in this sport pretty soon. So, little by little, patience is key, and then the world's gonna know who we are.
That is outstanding. I tell you what, I really like it because there's another boxing legend from Southern California, though. From Oxnard to be exact, and that's Fernando Vargas, who has his kids who are up-and-coming prospects in boxing. Can we actually expect to see Northern versus Southern California collide eventually?
That's always going to be a rivalry right there, Northern versus Southern. So I can definitely see a future fight between me and Fernando Jr. In the works in the future. 2 big names, Vargas versus Guerrero. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, So It's just, everything has its time, and when the time is right, we'll make the fight happen.
I tell you what, that is exciting, brother.
Most definitely, yeah.
And well, it's funny. Obviously, you're boxing through and through. You come from a boxing family.
Yeah.
But it's funny when I speak with fighters, and I've done a lot of work with fighters, and often they will say, hey, you know what? I'm working hard so my kids don't have to. And you know what? I will never push them into this sport. If they want to get into it, fine, but I will never push them into it because this is a hard business.
Yeah, it's definitely not for the weak. Definitely not for the weak.
Yes. So was your family encouraging, or did they have any say in anything? And what advice did your Uncle Robert give you when you decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to go pro, man.
Yeah. No, of course. I mean, I'd like to say I'm a multi-sport athlete. I've done football, I've done basketball, I've done, all the sports, track, but I just always gravitated towards boxing. I was born into boxing, watching fights, going to fights, being at the gym as a little kid, running around, not taking it serious, just, going here and going there. But I just, as I grew up, I hit my growth spur. I'm 6'3" now, so I mean, I got the reach, I got the power, I got the speed, and I just always gravitated towards it. My uncle always told me, if you just put in the hard work, dedicate yourself, sacrifice a little bit, and it's all going to take care of itself. So, I always had that in the back of my head. My dad encouraged me a lot too. He said, if you just put your mind to it, you can achieve anything you want in this sport. So that's ever since then, I just been working towards what I want to be, a world champion one day.
That is amazing. And yeah, you get to write your own check. You dictate your own path. Yep. And yeah, that's it. Thanks be to God. And speaking of the Lord Almighty, the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world, Jesus Christ, I will say this. I will never forget interviewing your uncle, Robert, the Ghost.
Yeah.
Months before, and there was rumblings that he was going to get the Floyd Mayweather fight, right?
Yeah.
And so I interviewed him, and he goes, I really hope I get that fight so I can humble everybody. I can humble him and let him know who the real power is in this life.
Yeah.
All power and glory to Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And then I look on your Twitter page today when I'm preparing for this interview. And lo and behold, what do I see? A picture of the Last Supper. And I said, there it is. There it is. That's it. Yeah. And so talk about what your foundation, I am sure everyone in your family feels this way.
Yeah.
But talk about what your foundation of Christianity. What role has that played in your career and developing you as a young adult?
Yeah. No, I mean, I put God first before I do anything in this world, without him, none of this is possible, so I pray to him. I go to church every Sunday. I was just recently baptized back in March, end of March.
Congratulations, brother.
Yeah. Me and my girlfriend just got baptized together in March. So very thankful for that experience. It was very cleansing. And, like I said, God is in my life 24/7, no matter what, through the highs and lows. It doesn't matter if I'm, riding the waves or just, doing a daily thing in life. I'm always putting God, right next to me and first. So, he's very important in my life. Every time I go out there in the ring, I give a little prayer to myself, that he protects me and he lets me come out victorious. And, I'm very thankful to have him in my life. And Christianity is a very huge thing in my life. And, I'm always going to represent Christianity, wherever I'm at, especially in the ring and outside of the ring. So, yeah.
Thanks be to God, brother. Thanks be to God. And I tell you what, man, let's go back to that date, though, when your uncle fought Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Yeah.
How old were you when that happened?
I was, I think, just turning 12 or 13. 13, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I was a youngin'. I was super young. So very cool experience. Very great experience, seeing my uncle out there, fight the best, arguably the best to ever do it, so to come back after that fight, to, go back to school. We didn't get the victory, but just to have my uncle be in that position and to fight, pound for pound, one of the best, it's like a blessing. It's I kind of like took it as like, I'm going to like brag about it to my friends, yeah, my uncle fought the best, what's up, so cool experience,
That's outstanding, brother. That's outstanding. And you know what? to his credit and the credit of Ruben, your grandfather,
Yeah.
you know, he didn't. He represented himself very well.
Yeah.
Right. And Floyd didn't seem very interested in sitting in the pocket and engaging with him.
Yeah, no.
And he definitely didn't touch him up. And your uncle didn't represent himself like Victor Ortiz.
Yeah.
And so did you ever ask him, hey, what frustrated you the most, or what was the most difficult part of facing an all-time great like Floyd Mayweather Jr. in the ring?
Yeah. I remember him telling me that it was his speed and his footwork that you would think he'd be doing something, but he'll be on the other side of the ring already expecting you to throw a punch while he's throwing a punch, you know? So yeah, he said it was his speed, the most that got him was his speed. Obviously, you know, Mayweather wasn't too known for his power, so you know, but he did have tremendous speed and footwork. So he would be in one position, and then the next second he'd be in a different position. So it was just, you know, going back and forth from that. It was just, yeah. He said it was just the speed was gets him the most.
Wow, that's really interesting. I tell you what.
Yeah.
Your uncle started his career at 126.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
And he could do it all. He could outbox you from mid to long range, bang with you in the pocket. And what would you say your style is at 160 pounds?
My style, I can mix it up, but for me, I like what I like to say is the name of the game is to hit and not get hit. So I try to use my jab, my distance, my range, you know, for the most part. And if I do get caught and squeezed in the corner or something, I can bang it out, and I can, you know, we can go toe to toe. But for the most part, it's mostly I try to use my boxing skills. You know, my footwork. I got tremendous footwork, quick feet, quick hands, a long jab. So take advantage of that.
Indeed, brother. I'll tell you what, it's an exciting time for boxing right now.
Yeah.
And so how long have you been, when did you actually start boxing? And once again, not turning pro, but when did you start boxing, and how deep is your amateur background go back?
I started my first amateur fight was when 14 years old. 14. Yeah. And then I kind of was in and out. I did other sports, like I said. I don't have a too big amateur career, but I was, like I said, I was always in the gym, and it just came naturally. You know, I had my dad, my grandpa, great trainer. I had my uncle helping me out in the gym, so I kind of developed a pro style right away. So my uncle was like, "Hey, dude, let's turn pro. Let's get that experience going. You know, you have what it takes. You got the speed. You got the power. You know, just keep training at it. Keep doing what you're doing. And you know, I'm here now. So I've been in the sport for a long time, and I'm only going to get better. You know, my skills are only going to improve. I'm training out here in Las Vegas, so that's the best work is out here. The best gyms are out here. So I'm only going to get good work out here. So I'm very thankful for that as well. So, but yeah.
Now that is crucial. That is crucial. Iron sharpens iron in any business. And you know what? It's funny. A lot of young fighters who don't come from your lineage, they will insist to me that, oh yeah, we need strength and conditioning coaches. But it almost seems like, and this is your uncle always saying, no, nothing prepares you quite like hard sparring for battle in the ring. Yeah. Do you agree with your uncle, or do you agree with most young fighters today that, yeah, you need more time with strength and conditioning coaches? Your thoughts?
No, I mean, I would say it's a little bit of both, but you'd lean towards more hard sparring. That's going to get you not only physically ready, but mentally ready as well. You know, you get those good rounds in, get those rounds in before the fight. You feel confident. You build, you know, it builds confidence in you. And, you know, I feel like getting good sparring, I rather prefer sparring than strength conditioning, to be honest. But I mean, nowadays it's different, the new generation. So I see a lot of fighters doing a lot of strength and conditioning, which is good, but you know, it's nothing like, you know, like a pre-fight fight, which is sparring, you know. So I lean towards more the sparring.
Indeed, because it's so important to stay relaxed in the ring, and the only way to get that mindset that where you're not going to panic, you're not going to tense up,
Exactly.
Yeah, you've got to see it. You've got to get used to it, and that's
Sure.
you can't
Yes,
get
sir.
that by waving a bunch of ropes around.
Yeah, that or throwing a bunch of weight around, So
And
yeah.
there it is, brother. You've got a big fight coming up on August 3rd.
Yes, sir.
Now, do you know who you're fighting yet?
As of right now, no, I don't. But within the next 2 weeks, I should I should know who I should be fighting. But it don't matter if it's a lefty, southpaw, righty. I'm well prepared. My last two fights, it were southpaw, so I prepared well for a southpaw. I got good sparring partners that are southpaws. Righty, I've always fought righties, so I understand which is southpaw and righty. So I'll definitely be prepared for whoever it is.
Indeed,
Yeah.
brother. And that. So who are now? You mentioned Vegas, and yeah, that is the place to go for hard sparring. Also, that sage advice. Who are you actually training with at this time?
Right now, I'm currently training with my father. So we got our own gym right now.
Excellent.
My uncle has a house here, and he has his own gym here. So we usually train out of there. But for the most part, for sparring and for off days, we usually go to a gym called Pound for Pound here.
Mm.
The owner's super cool, Richard Barrientos. He's like family to us. He's always asking us if we need sparring, if you want to train here. So that's I'd say one of the best gyms in Vegas, if not the world. So a lot of world champions came out of there too. So that's where I usually do my sparring at, and for the most part.
That's outstanding, brother.
Yeah.
That's outstanding. Now,
Yeah.
it looks like this fight is going to be taking place in Sacramento, California, the capital city.
Yes,
And
sir.
it's funny, back in the 90s, I'm sure you remember this, but back in the 90s, that used to be a hotbed for boxing.
Boxing, yeah.
So many champions coming out of Sacramento, promoted by one of my mentors, Don Warwick Chargan, and so many champions he cultivated from the club level to the world title. But we haven't seen that since Don actually moved on, God rest his soul. Are you excited that people are starting to talk about Northern California again? And do you believe that we are going to see a resurrection of that? And do you believe there are going to be numerous world champions from that area in the near future?
I'm excited. For Northern California is finally getting some recognition for boxing. It kind of slipped off a little bit, but it's coming back now. The fights are coming back. I'm excited, and I'm not from Sacramento. I'm from Guerrero, California. So there's already been a champion there, my Uncle Robert. I pray to God that I become the second world champion out of Guerrero. So little by little, boxing's gonna come back to Northern California. What was it? Just last year, Haney and Regis Prograis just fought in San Francisco. So that was a nice touch right there. So little by little, shows are gonna be popping up more in Northern California, and pretty soon it's gonna be every weekend like LA's having fights. So I'm definitely excited. Especially for the younger fighters that are coming up as well. So only time will tell.
Yeah, and I think from what I remember, Gilroy's about an hour and a half away from Sacramento.
Yeah, a little under 2 hours, I'd say. A little under 2 hours. Yeah.
So yeah, that's great. And it's funny. Are you ready to play a game, sir? Since this is your first time at Warwick Boxing.
Let's do it. I'm ready,
brother. So here we go. Theme music, please, Floyd. The honors.
Hey, we ain't ducking and dodging nobody. It's time for fact or fiction.
And thank you, Floyd. I appreciate it, brother. And number one, here it is. Tank Davis will defeat Vasil Lomachenko to become unified 135-pound champ later this year. And his detractors will still ask who's he fought. Fact or fiction?
I'd say Tank Davis will defeat Vasil. I'm gonna say fact. I'm gonna have to give it. I'm gonna give it a fact right now for Tank. He's on a high roll right now. He seems like he's unstoppable. I mean, look at just 2 days ago what he did to Frank Martin. Wore him out
Mm.
6-7 rounds, and then he just put the pressure on him, and we've seen what happened. So it's funny because this fight, it reminds me of a little bit of when he fought Tio. Vasily, respected Tio's power a little too much, and got off too late in the round. So, and then we've seen what happened. Tio ended up winning the belt. So it's kind of a little similar. I feel like Vasily's gonna respect Tank, a lot more than what he did with Tio because of that power. But I'm gonna say Tank for this one. Tank.
Wow, you know what? I wholeheartedly agree. Were you a bit surprised watching this past Saturday night's pay-per-view on PBC, Amazon Prime? Were you a bit surprised that Tank adopted the high guard and the aggressive fight style? Because we rarely do see that from him, because he's a counterpuncher by trade. Were you a bit surprised how well he did as an aggressor?
The most definitely. I mean, I feel like Tank's just getting started with the skill set, but also you gotta throughout the whole fight, throughout the whole press conferences and all that, building up to the fight, he knew that Frank had no power, so he didn't really respect him in that aspect. So he just came forward, wore him down, like he said in the interview. I was just wearing him down, trying to get his legs tired, and then when he was on the ropes, that's when he just took full advantage, and we seen him with the knockout. So. But it's not really no surprise, So I feel like he can't really get away with this with a lot of other fighters, So
yeah,
but we'll see what happens.
So if he actually so do you expect, and you see the so it's amazing you mentioned Teofimo Lopez, Vasily Lomachenko. And do you think that's why he's doing it? Because they've been negotiating with Top Rank even before this Frank Martin fight happened. Do you think that's why he did it? That this was a great preparation for Vasily Lomachenko, and that's how you have to fight him, put him on his back foot. And is that the way you would fight him?
Definitely. I would definitely, fight him like that. Throw maybe a little more jabs. Tank wasn't really throwing no jabs. Just coming forward, trying to land a big shot. But I mean, later in the rounds, he wore him down. Obviously, Frank sat on the ropes too much, too comfortable. Got caught with the shot. But I think Vasily Lomachenko is a lot smarter fighter. He uses his angles a lot more. He's in and out, so it's gonna be a lot difficult, than just wearing him down and trying to just bully him. But Vasily Lomachenko is gonna come in a lot better shape, than what people expect, especially up in his age. But I think it's gonna be a definitely good fight. I'm excited for it, but I still think Tank's gonna come out on top.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement with everything you said. And yeah, if you think Lomachenko can't do this at his accelerated age with all the wear and tear from the amateur background, look at his last performance against George Kambosos Jr. in Australia. Outstanding. So I'm really looking forward to this. And it's about time we see Top Rank and PBC start to build that bridge and put these fights together again.
Yeah.
Are you ready for number 2, my friend?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Here we go, Victor. Number 2, brother. Fact or fiction, David Benavidez' inconsistent but winning performance against Alexander Gvozdyk was due to an excellent opponent in a new weight division, not the injuries he suffered during camp. Fact or fiction?
I'm gonna say fiction. I'm gonna say fiction for this. Just for the fact that it's a new weight class for him. His opponent was what I've heard is was Canelo's sparring partner for one of his camps.
That's true.
So
former pound for pound fighter and former WBC light heavyweight champ. Yeah, Alexander Gvozdyk.
Yeah, no, he definitely was no pushover. So and he's been at that weight for a while now. He's comfortable. This is David Benavidez' first time at 175. So, his performance could have been a little better. I think a lot of people expected him to get the knockout. But it's a new way for him, and I think he's going to improve though. It's his first fight, and we'll see what happens with David Benavidez. Next. So I think maybe he gets another fight before he gets the Bivol and Benavid, winner, or whoever he fights between them two, because those guys are dogs. Those guys are definitely dogs, and we've seen what happened, when Bivol, fought Canelo. So,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
yeah, that was definitely, definitely shocking. But big guy right there. So, yeah,
There it is. I tell you what, yeah, the elites at 75, Canelo Alvarez. Yeah, those are big money fights for a reason. And
exactly.
boy, he had better bring it. He had
Yeah,
better
no,
bring it. And
100%.
so to give some insights into what happened with David during his camp, though, you are just coming off of a shoulder injury. First
Yes,
of
yeah.
all, how is that feeling? And what exactly happened? What exactly were you suffering from? And how long did it take to recover? And how are you
Yeah,
feeling
yeah.
now?
Yeah, no, I mean, Brent, it's feeling great now. I just sparred this last Saturday. It felt great, getting back in there. Shoulders working fine. Shoulders 100%. I bruised my socket that's connected to my ligaments. So I
Mm,
I try to like beginning of camp for my last fight that I pulled out of. It came as like a little pinch, and then as we picked up the training, we picked up the strength and conditioning, all that stuff. It just kept getting worn out, kept getting bruised, kept getting worse and worse, to the point where one of the days I was hitting mitts with my dad, and we practiced on the throwing the straight right hand. I couldn't even throw it 100%. I was throwing it like 40%, 45, and it by the time I hit the bags, by the time I'd get done training, it was just getting worse and worse. And for myself, in my best interest, I felt like I had to pull out the fight. If not, I could have gone into the fight. This is how I thought of it: two ways. I either could have made it worse, could have got surgery on it, or something. I could have torn something. I could have been out for a year. Or the other option I was thinking was, if I do get through camp and I do fight, I'm not going to be 100% going into my fight, and I want to give myself the best chance to win at all costs, no matter how big the fight is, So it was in my best interest to pull out the fight, and to rehab it, and to let my shoulder give it time to heal up. And it took some time. It took about like a month and a half to really get back to its normal. And I don't have no soreness, no pinching or none of that now. So I'm very blessed. I'm very thankful that I'm back to training hard again, and to be back 100%.
that's outstanding. And I tell you what, we love that fighting spirit. Now then, let's look at David Benavidez.
Yeah.
Now, if you were having that kind of deliberation, you had that quandary, you know what, should I not disappoint the fans? Should I not disappoint the promoter, everyone that's counting on me?
Yeah.
I'm, going to be the main event. I'm going to be, you know what do I do?
Yeah.
Now, if you're in David's position, you get a cut over your eye,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you tear your tendons in your right hand, your power hand. And then you couple that with, you only fight twice a year. A lot of people are counting on me. They can't afford to scratch this event.
No. Yeah.
And then couple that with a couple of millions of dollars. You don't turn that down now, do you?
That's a decision that definitely gonna need some thinking over, especially with my family, with my team. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of that's like a lot of people are dependent on you for that. A lot it's on the line. What was it, the 100th fight at the MGM? You
Yep.
know, and yeah, it's just that's a hard decision. But I mean, I feel like David has the best doctors, he gets the best treatment. So I feel like in his best interest, he could, was like he did. He was able to go. So yeah, I'd give it a go. Got this. It's a big fight going on, a big card, lots on the line. It was what, WBC title eliminator.
That's
So
right.
for the interim title. So next up after this fight is for undisputed. So at 75. So yeah, it was like the performance wasn't the best from David's aspect, but like said, like you said, injuries happen, so it kind of derailed his performance. But I don't think we've seen the best David at 175 yet.
And I wholeheartedly agree with everything you're saying. And let me ask you, this is a bonus fact or fiction, right?
Yeah.
Fact or fiction, sir. His shaky performance is going to prove to be a blessing in disguise, because it's what will ultimately attract Canelo to taking on this
Yeah.
assignment. Fact or
Exactly.
fiction?
Fact, for sure. Fact, definitely a fact. Yeah. I feel like it's a fact, not only because it showed Canelo that, he's not what we thought he was, the Mexican monster. So I think it gave a little confidence to Canelo, thinking that he can beat him. But, Canelo might bite off too much than what he can chew, with David, because David just comes forward and throws, punches and bunches. So, we'll see if that fight ever happens. We'll see if David does come down to 68 again, because I don't think Canelo will go up to 75 to fight David. It'd be way too big for him. But, I see Canelo, licking his chops right now, thinking that he can beat David right now at this moment. But, we all know that David wasn't 100% last Saturday.
Yep. And so in your mind, I'm going to put you in the hot seat, my friend.
Yeah.
Who wins that fight and why at 175 pounds?
Either David or Canelo?
Yes, sir.
At 75, I say David. For sure, David.
And at 68?
Canelo. I say Canelo. Yeah,
the way
that's like the weight is too close to cut for David. He's a big boy. He's a big guy. So him coming down to 168 again, I think it'd be a little weight draining for him. But at 75, I feel like he's fully comfortable there. So I give him the full advantage right there at 75.
I tell you what, very, very insightful answers. And we have one more factor prediction before we let you go, brother.
Yep.
Here it is, number 3 factor prediction, sir. Former junior welterweight champ Subriel Matias wasn't exposed this past Saturday night, but Liam Peddle was for being a legit badass at 140 pounds. Fact or fiction?
I'd say fact and fiction. The fact is that Liam Peddle is a legitimate, badass at 140. Everybody thought that Matias was the boogeyman at 140. So, and then the fiction was that Matias was exposed. I feel like he relied too much on his power and his knockout power and stuff. And I thought that his boxing skills really hasn't improved since his last fight. So, but Liam definitely stepped up, especially when he went to, they fought, what was it, in Puerto Rico? Was that what?
Yes, it was in Puerto Rico.
Real
Matias' hometown.
Exactly. So, he definitely stepped up for that fight, and going behind enemy lines, which is not easy. Trust me, not easy to do it, So, all props to Liam, for being the new champ at 140. But, I don't think Matias is done. I think he's going to improve from this fight. And, I think we see a rematch, between these two guys, in the future.
You know what, brother? That is a great response, and that's a great answer. And congratulations, sir. You just survived your first stint at Fact or Fiction. And I tell you what, and we know you're pressed for time. We'll let you go, but please agree to 2 things. 1, please agree to come back to promote your event the closer it gets to the fight. That's going to be August 3rd, guys. And we can't wait to see it. There's a very good possibility I'm going to be out there to see it up close and in person. And then 2, please give your fans and listeners who have never seen you before on this channel, give them an idea of what to expect for the future of Victor Guerrero.
Yeah. First question, I'd definitely love to be back. Very grateful to be on the podcast. So we'll definitely get some more action in. But what you can expect from me in the future is staying more active. I'm definitely on the come up for the rankings. I definitely want my name to be out there, and pretty soon I want to be fighting on one of these big cards. Which is whether it's going to be on PBC or Golden Boy, maybe even Top Rank. So, everybody can expect fireworks when they see me fight, and I pack a big punch too, so definitely watch out for the knockout, so you definitely don't want to miss that.
There it is, guys. He is going to be showcasing the skills at the DoubleTree Hotel in Sacramento, California, August 3rd. I'll tell you what, guys, on behalf of Slick Vic, Victor Guerrero, I'm Joseph Heron. You've been listening to War Week Boxing. Have a great evening, everybody.
W.W presents Big Time Boxing USA on W.A.W Radio.